Y'all.
Hey, what's going on out there, everybody?
Everybody likes a good fight.
And this was definitely the weekend for big-time fights. Huge cards by the UFC and by heavyweight boxing. We had Deontay Wilder versus Ortiz. Both undefeated heavyweights.
Deontay
Wilder, in an attempt to unify all the belts with Anthony Joshua, decided to put on a display of his unnatural power, taking on the undefeated Ortiz, the Cuban defector, who's a little older, but he's got that old man strength a la George Foreman. And these two went at it.
George Foreman is low.
George Foreman was a force to be reckoned with.
I was overdoing it. George Foreman
was a force to be reckoned with.
He was an anomaly. He was an anomaly.
His second career?
I mean,
after he sold all those grills?
Comparing the man to George Foreman.
I tell you what, the power in those guys' hands.
George Foreman. You
very
see
similar. Very similar.
They should disrespect George Foreman right now.
And,
George Foreman was a heavyweight champion of the world.
That's true.
He knocked out Muhammad Ali. So.
And if Ortiz hadn't spent so much time trying to get to Miami and be a free human being for a change, he would have probably been on that same collision course with Anthony Joshua that Deontay Wilder is on, in an attempt to unify the belts. But we saw Deontay Wilder take on Ortiz this weekend. Showtime Boxing, those guys went at it, and they went at it hard.
Remember when HBO Boxing was relevant?
I remember when HBO was the place to watch boxing.
What happened? You know what happened? Floyd Mayweather happened.
Well, the guy was so popular.
What was the old white guy's name? He had beef with the announcer.
Goodness gracious! Now, geez, you know what? That name escapes me. But yeah, he had beef with the old.
He single-handedly destroyed boxing for HBO by having Floyd Mayweather hated so much to fight in HBO that he went to Showtime. Signed a 5-year deal worth $1 trillion gazillion, and fought guys that weren't even in the fucking sport.
That's very true, and it's amazing that Larry Merchant
destroyed HBO boxing. He slowly was killing HBO boxing, and Floyd Mayweather put the knife with a nail on the coffin.
He put the kibosh.
Yeah. That guy was annoying as fuck.
But you can't deny the fact that he does know the fight game. He's been around it for
He knows.
Very long time.
He knew. He knew.
Think it passed him by?
He knew. The reason I say he knew is because he took his hatred for Mayweather too personal to give him his proper due. Floyd Mayweather is the best boxer of our time.
One can argue that.
Well, it's two. We have two different times.
One can argue that.
I'm the current time, and my partner here is from the 40s. So, my time, Floyd Mayweather is the GOAT of our time.
Larry Merchant had
current ever.
He had a couple of points. One,
he was old.
Mayweather, after the problems developed with his hands, especially his right, which was broken during more than one bout, he wasn't taking on all comers as he was earlier in his career. At one point in his career, Floyd Mayweather Jr. was a knockout artist.
Yeah, they all are.
And because of his hand issues, because he broke his hands, especially his right hand, several times during some of his earlier bouts, he changed his style. He was always a defensive guru, but he had
the best besides Winky Wright. That's the best defense in the game that I've seen.
Really, you wouldn't?
Winky Wright is probably the best defensive boxer I've ever seen. He was so good that he stopped boxing because people hated the fact that he wouldn't get hit.
A lot could be said about a very early Jones Jr.
Very early Jones Jr.
Who embarrassed so many boxers.
To me, it was more speed than defense with him. He could have been way more than he was if he would have used his defense more. I think his career could have stretched longer if he would have used his defense better.
Oh, come on. He's in his 50s. And he actually fought rather recently.
Yeah.
He fought in 2017. Calendar year.
Sadly true. But I think I was a big fan of Roy Jones. If Roy Jones would have used his defense more and kept that flash to the side when he was boxing, he probably would have prolonged his career more. But that to me, that's what destroyed his career, because I did follow Roy Jones very well. He was a great defensive boxer. It's just that he took style over defense, and after a while that hurt him.
Well, style was what was getting him the huge paydays that he was getting.
Yeah. But here's the thing, when he had to balance it, he didn't balance it. You know, you want to keep that style, but you got to keep it business. That's why Floyd Mayweather, to me, is so successful, because he keeps a little bit of flash there, just a little bit. He uses his brain, and to me, it wasn't his hands that so much was the issue, is that he just got older. As you get older, you get smarter, and he decided to become smarter. Because if there was a guy promoting him, they would have been doing the same thing he was doing. And we wouldn't have been like, oh, he's ducking. We wouldn't have said that if he wasn't self-promoted. Because he's not self-promoted. Because he's self-promoted, to me, that's why people take that personal, that he decided to. But even though he didn't take in all newcomers, he fought everybody in the game. Yeah. Everybody worth fighting, he did eventually fight.
The vicious knockout of Ricky Hatton.
Oscar De La Hoya, he put on his ass with that gut shot. He put Oscar De La Hoya on his ass.
Cotto?
And let's talk about something else.
Okay. Let's take it back.
That wounded me deeply
Let's take it back to
Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder, who
fucking animal.
Who predicted an early knockout, almost won the bout in the 5th round with a series of overhand rights that put Ortiz down.
You know what his style of boxing should be called? The John Henry.
I think it should be called the club effect, because he's not.
That's why I say John Henry. Remember the book John Henry?
Yeah,
he took the hammer and
just
God, that man is savage. I love it. I fucking love it.
And that's exactly what some boxing pundits are saying could be his downfall. Yeah. The fact that he wields these clubs that most people call hands, the way he does. A lot of wild hooks. Yeah. A lot of wild hooks. Not so many straight jabs or
listen, there's the puncher and there's the boxer. This has been going on through history forever. Once upon a time, guys fought like this.
And we've seen that
I've experimented with that, by the way, in my youth.
Boxers win matches. Boxers win trophies. Boxers win belts. And Anthony Joshua, the UK equivalent to Deontay Wilder, is now a boxer. And he has a fight coming up next month. I hope
Deontay Wilder puts him on his ass.
You know, it's really frightening.
I'm so sick of the English smart. You know, I'm
the prospect
cheerio.
Of those two,
I have a smart remark for everything. You know, fuck you, bro.
The prospect of those two meeting each other, unifying all the belts, that's really scary for Wilder. We saw Anthony Joshua evolve as a fighter when he beat Klitschko, who when Joshua was young.
Didn't they have a retirement party for Klitschko after the fight?
Yeah. They most certainly did.
Yeah, so I think he officially applied for Social Security right after the fight.
Which is why Deontay Wilder immediately after the match, in not so many words, say that he's not going to call out Anthony Joshua anymore because he's essentially afraid of the fight.
And not to say that, he couldn't beat Klitschko in the prime, because Klitschko ain't shit.
Klitschko had one of the most devastating jabs in the heavyweight division.
This is boring fighting. His brother was better.
Boring, but it won.
I love scientific boxing.
It won those fights.
His brother was better. His brother beat Lennox Lewis.
That might be...
Just didn't win the fucking fight.
That might be all well and true. However, when you have a jab that stuns opponents, like Klitschko had, when you have a jab...
He was fighting... You gotta understand, he was fighting 30-year-old white ballroom guys. You know what I mean? Ballroom guys.
He fought Bird twice.
Larry Bird. No.
He
had cornrows back here, son. They were back here.
That might be true.
That's what the cornrows were. Jesus Christ. That's how he saluted. Like that.
Might be true, but again, this was another heavy-handed heavyweight during his heyday.
Who do you think is going to win out of Joshua and Wilder?
I have to give the nod to Anthony Joshua, who has transformed himself into a pure boxer.
I usually support the scientific boxer because I love the boxer, but because he's American,
you get the Wilder.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
I want this guy to come in and beat him like he owed him money.
That's the way he typically beats his opponents, as if they're holding the purse. Yeah. As if they're the ones
that's my mama purse.
Yeah. You can't be keeping my money. Yeah. But we shall see. Hopefully this fight gets made at the end of 2018.
Yeah, they better not try the Mayweather and
Pacquiao drawn out 5 years it took for that bout to
fucking Sugar Ray and what's the guy's name? Pac-Man.
Sugar Ray versus Duran was another drawn out.
No, the other one, the ball guy.
Oh, Hagler. That was another drawn out.
Yeah, Sugar Ray versus Hagler.
Oh, yeah.
That was drawn out. And that was one of the greatest boxing matches ever in the history of two people putting up their fists.
Now, let me ask you something. Was it that good about because of the weight, or was it that good about because...
The weight always plays a difference because the smaller guys have more energy. They simply fight more.
Oh, yeah.
The big guys are lazier. We all know that. They get rid of the guys faster. But also, these guys... Hagler was out to kill Sugar Ray. Hagler was out to kill him. Hagler went into that ring. He knew that he was going to end up in a jury of his peers.
He knew it was going to be a trial.
He knew. But Sugar Ray had other plans. He said, "Listen, bro, I know you coming to kill me, but you got to catch me first."
I don't think you understand. We in Atlantic City. I came to party after this.
I'm telling you, nigga, I ain't walking around with no black eye. You crazy?
I'm too pretty to be walking around with.
10 seconds before the round ends, it worked. It worked. You gotta give it to him. I mean, it's fucked up, but you gotta give it to him. He played his cards the right way, and he won that fight. Hagler should have fucking massacred him, but Sugar Ray was a warrior. He was smart. You gotta give it to him.
Speaking of smart warriors, how about the UFC fight card featuring so far no competition in her weight class, Cris Cyborg versus
Mr. Cris Cyborg. Mr.
versus
Cris
Yana Kunitskaya.
She's the first woman in Brazilian history to get a boner.
Oh, a lot of people say that.
There are a lot of guys there, but
a lot of people say that Cyborg is a different animal.
She's a fucking. Now, let me get. I don't want to take nothing away from her because I love how women are getting down in this sport. It's scary because, I'm wondering who's smashing these girls. Like, what are you doing?
Well, she's divorced from.
I wonder why. She probably beat him.
The divorce happened not that long after her husband who also happens to share the nickname Cyborg, got defeated by Michael Venom Page with a flying knee that nearly collapsed his skull.
Sounds like a Street Fighter game.
And Michael Venom Page, who hasn't fought MMA in a while because he decided to take his talents to boxing.
South Beach?
Oh. To South Beach, yeah. He wound up taking his talents to the boxing ring, where he's undefeated, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
He caught Cyborg's husband, like I said, with the same nickname, Cyborg, with a flying knee that actually put a dent in his skull. Right about here, made huge news.
You might want to, because you got a big forehead, so you might want to make it a little smaller.
The dent actually, when they showed the X-ray,
yeah, it
was concave, almost like a bowl.
So when they were reporting this, were they laughing at him, or were they serious? Like, we shouldn't,
Well, at the time, nobody was laughing because they thought this could lead to permanent brain damage of the frontal lobe. This could lead to a lot of serious problems. Done.
MTV, what is it? Remember that MTV show, MTV Live?
Yeah, there
MTV
was
Life or whatever. My wife beats me. Damn. This is the generation that's coming up,
Yeah.
We're raising a bunch of guys that get beat.
There are future leaders. These are the people that are going to be in office while we're in old folks' homes.
Times are turning. Well, we deserve it. We've been beating our women historically for too long, so we deserve it. Things got to change.
That's true.
I support that.
But what I don't support,
me and my sons will be the last of the breed that don't play that shit. We're not getting beat by our women. It's not happening.
Don't, guys, if you're out there, don't hit any woman. Yeah, don't hit any woman.
Don't hit no woman.
Don't hit any woman at all.
Don't hit no woman. You can hit a man as long as he's trying to hit you.
And to the young gentleman, or let me be a little more.
Matter of fact, you can hit a woman and she's trying to hit you too. Self-defense, bro. It's legal.
That's true. You can defend yourself.
Yeah, no one should be putting hands on the other person. Once you lose that respect, even though, some of us from the hood, we understand that happens, so we're going to push that to the side, but you shouldn't put your hands on someone else because there's always a diplomatic way of handling shit.
Once she's down, though, there's absolutely no reason to ground and pound. There's no reason to take her back.
Don't rice her. Cris Cyborg and Yana Kunitskaya.
Yana Kunitskaya. That fight.
Kuna Matata.
Yeah, the Swede. How about that?
These two girls were getting it in, and Cyborg beat her down.
No, it's that bomb of a right hand that Cyborg has. That it doesn't come out of nowhere. That much we know. That's how she's been winning the majority of her fights. She
beat some heavyweights. She beat some heavyweights.
She has. What's remarkable is Kunitskaya comes from the same camp as Holly Holm, who just recently took Cyborg to the distance. Something that has not happened before in Cyborg's career. Nobody has gone to full 5 and survived Cris Cyborg, but Holly Holm did. As a matter of fact, there were some commentators who said Holly Holm could have won that fight based off striking. It's the in-ring aggression.
She just landed more punches than the other one. Of course,
it's the in-ring aggression that got Cyborg over. But whenever you leave any fight in the hands of the judges, right, you have no idea how they're gauging the fight.
Unless you're Mayweather and Sugar Ray.
Right? And then, you grease the wheels a couple of times.
Yeah. I know I would. I ain't hating.
Except against Hatton. There was absolutely there's no grease there. That was just straight raw. I'm going to knock you out.
Ricky Hatton, yeah.
I'm going to embarrass you in front of your whole crowd.
Hitman Hearns. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Actually, I wanted to bring this up earlier. Marvelous Marvin Hagler actually had his name legally changed to Marvelous Marvin.
Because they didn't want to respect it.
And I'm thinking, because...
This is what, 50 years ago or something like that?
This was a while
We
back.
just recently were able to change our names. Well, we just recently were acknowledged we wanted to maybe name something specifically in a sport. He had legally changed that shit.
He legally
This
changed
is
his
recent,
name.
bro. It's not 100 years ago.
That was a big deal because nobody would call him by his nickname.
Get over it, right? Well, we can't.
Ocho Cinco did the same thing. Chad Johnson did the same thing. He changed his last name.
I still call him Ocho Cinco, bro.
And it makes you wonder. People in the fight game respect Cris Cyborg. People understand that she's a devastating striker. She's a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She's going to be a handful for any fighter.
The moment you get that black belt, maybe.
Well, it
Purple
seems
belt.
that you have to either beat a Gracie or study directly under a Gracie in order to qualify for a black belt.
That's a goddamn shame. That's a goddamn shame.
And there aren't that many people that have done one or the other. Perhaps if she took some time off and studied under Eddie Bravo, she can get her black belt and maybe put somebody in the electric
do what
chair.
I do. Watch YouTube videos. Watch YouTube videos. Y'all think I'm fucking around? I learned how to ride a motorcycle watching a YouTube video. My wife thinks I'm insane. I watched a YouTube video for 5 minutes, bought a bike, and said, I'm going to ride this bitch. Got on it, almost died, but I learned that same day.
I tell you what, I'm not going to put that to the test when it comes to putting somebody in the electric
Fuck
chair.
it.
I'm not going to.
Fuck it.
Which is a devastating hold.
I learned so much.
Jiu-jitsu.
The only failed thing I ever did off YouTube was learn how to replace my phone screen on once upon a time I owned an iPhone. Yes, I was in the Stone Age. I owned an iPhone. I cracked the screen and I decided, you know what? It wasn't even an iPhone. It was an iPod, the original touchscreen iPod.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's how way back I went. So I bought that and I tried to fix the screen, and I failed miserably.
were you watching the video on the cracked screen? Perhaps that might have had something to do with it.
It might have had something to do with it. But yeah, most of the things I've ever learned is through YouTube. YouTube is a great learning tool.
It most certainly
Hint,
is.
hint. Old man show. Hint, hint.
Shameless plug. Shameless.
plug. Yeah, man, you can learn a lot in finance, fixing shit, selling shit, fighting,
Passive income, hard-earned income.
surviving police harassment. All types of shit. All types of shit.
Fantasy sports, especially baseball coming up.
Fantasy football.
Fantasy football, which we'll start an entire big thing on coming up in July.
Might even do a league. An old man show league.
be
Imagine
a
that
part
shit.
of be a part of the action,
Gone by.
and make sure you keep up with the fight game. This is going to be a very active fall and winter season when it comes to the fight game. UFC cards are going to be out of this world.
Yeah.
Heavyweight boxing is going to be out of this world. The middleweights are going to make their moves here starting around the 4th of July weekend. This is going to be a huge summer, fall, and winter season when it comes to the fight game. So make sure you pay attention to that.
Absolutely.
Also, make sure you pay attention to baseball. This is going to be the year
Yankees.
where we find out whether or not the GMs who all got together
Bombers.
to not make the A-Rod mistake, as some of the GMs were calling it, these ridiculous contracts, which
That they deserve.
you
That they deserve.
which you pay players who have already peaked, and you're paying them for loyalty's sake. Listen up, folks. You earn what you're worth. And I understand it sucks the first 5 years in baseball because you're basically playing for pennies on the dollar. But if you are a Mike Trout or a Bryce Harper, if you are a Miguel Sano, or if you are a star, you're going to get your money.